everybody, and welcome to Bottom Line with Roni and Byron. We have a lot of news to get to you. We're going to start with the school closings in the neighboring counties to Jackson County.
In national news, we'll talk about how the Supreme Court blocks nationwide vaccine and testing mandates for large businesses, but allows healthcare worker vaccine mandates to take effect.
And then we'll switch to sports and talk about the two baseball players at Cottonelle High School who signed baseball scholarships.
And in entertainment, we'll talk about the death of Bob Saget and his autopsy was complete.
And we have a special guest today. It is Tammy Dasher, the program director for Next Step Academy at Endeavor. So Byron, we're going to start with our top story, which is the school closings in counties near Jackson County. We have Holmes County that closed on Friday, yesterday, and they're scheduled to open back up on Tuesday. But then you have Rehoboth, who also closed, and then the Dothan City schools closed on Wednesday. So Byron, these all schools closures are contributed to the Omicron variant that have left shortages for teachers and substitute teachers. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I was hoping that this wouldn't come back around. It seems like every 3 months, COVID just kicks into a different gear. And, I was hoping when the vaccines came, things was going to, kind of downtick. But it's these variants come out and, the best thing we do is try to stick to what the healthcare professionals are guiding us and telling us and try to just keep, trying to beat this thing out. But yes, another round. But at least they're trying to make a good faith effort to try to, stop it, and that'll give them at least about 5 days break. So hopefully, it can turn things around.
Yeah, with the holiday on Monday, that should help. But I think it was a smart move for those counties to go to virtual remote learning. We've been at this for 2 years now. So to me, Byron, it looks like you should already have a plan of action. When you see numbers get to a certain point, to me, Byron, you should have a plan of action to say, okay, now it's time for us to go to remote learning for 5 days, for a week, for 2 weeks, or whatever. There should be something in place at this point across the board for everybody to kind of follow. And I am concerned, Byron, because even in our county, we have not, closed schools or anything like that, but we do have a rising number of students that are out. And that's a problem, Byron, because schools are missing 5 days or more, and that causes a problem with them being behind. And I'm just concerned that there's nothing in place 2 years in.
Yeah, at this point, it should be, plans. There should be a lot of learned steps that have been learned, and people ready to, have something in place in the event something like this happens again. So for those that haven't, once again, people get involved. If you've got elected officials in there for a reason, and this is something. Yes, it hadn't happened in 100 years, but we've been at this pandemic for a while now. So it's a lot of lessons that have been learned with virtual learning, pluses and minuses, and what you do, you learn from those steps. In the military, we do what we call after action review. So we learn from the bad, the good, the bad, and how we can improve. And you take those lessons and you apply them to the next time. So this time around with Omicron or any other variant that may come around, it should be a lot smoother. If not, then that speaks to the leadership.
Yeah, I am concerned as a parent because, like I said before, when kids are out 4 and 5 days, that is a problem because, you're trying to get assignments from all these teachers, especially if you're in high school, you have multiple classes. You're trying to make sure the kid, once the kid feels better, that they are in a position where they can keep up. So I don't know, Byron, you tell me what you think about this. I don't know why it's not, considered an option for if a kid is out, 5 days or 3 to 5 days or whatever it is, that the teacher can just have a link that the kid can just Zoom into the class or FaceTime to the class so they can still participate in the class remotely. Wouldn't that make common sense?
I mean, what we're doing right now, this show, if for those that don't know, this show is recorded through Zoom. I mean, and you still have Skype, you still have those avenues. And there's no, I know with Jackson County, it kind of was, they have a virtual, but they, you know, a lot of people did Florida virtual, which is cool. But, you know, in all actuality, if you keep everything simple, you can just Zoom and that student
Right.
can still be able to participate in class and see what's going on and not drop off. And something as simple as emailing assignments and things that such, and being able to make a phone call if they had questions. Um, yeah, I
Sometimes
mean,
that's
it's to this point, yeah, to this point, I
but
mean, there's a lot of resources for us to make this easier and smoother, and a lot easier on the teacher as well, and not just the student. So, I mean, people can make 1,000 TikTok accounts. They could definitely make this process, because with COVID, I mean, it's not like the flu. It's not like you're gonna be out for a day or 2 or 3. You know, 5 days. Some people still doing, you know, 10 days and 14 days. That's a lot. And you know, you and I both know, right? And I've got 5. Yeah, and that
yeah.
process is, you know, that takes a lot out, especially even if a kid is in middle school or high school. You know, it takes a lot out of them, and it's hard to get that, you know, time back. And I'm an engaged parent, and I can, you know, keep them up to speed, but it's a lot that they miss out by not being in that
In class.
classroom. And
But here's the
yeah,
thing. This is what
yeah,
I've seen, that they tell you that the teacher can, you know, talk to your student during their planning period or before class. Well, they're not always available. And if you have a certain amount of students, even though it's not to the threshold, I don't know what the threshold is where they shut down the class to go virtual. If you're not there, you still have at least 3 students or 4 students out in each class. I bet you. I don't have the numbers, but at least 3 or 4 students out in each class. So at that point, why not have where you can have your teacher have a Zoom or FaceTime, you know, hey, at 10:05, when you're supposed to go to second period, this is your link to second period. This is your link to third period. Why can't you think out of the box and let the kids do that? And therefore, they're getting taught at home. If there's something that, you know, they got the work in advance for it's on Canvas and they can look at it, they can still get instructional teaching via Zoom or FaceTime. I don't know why that have not been considered. I don't understand that. It's a little
yeah, that's
frustrating for me because I
yeah.
understand, but you know, I'm like, you know, if you guys can agree with me, reach out to Stacy Goodson. I've had a conversation with him. I've had a conversation with Principal Day, you know, just saying, look, the numbers are rising. Let's put something in place. You know, I have not been able to reach Superintendent Benton. Hopefully, if you guys see him, let him know. Listen, let's get something in place. Let the other board members know. Diane Long, Charlotte Gardner, Chris
Mm-hmm.
Johnson, you know, Tony
Mm-hmm.
Pomfret. Let them know you guys have to do something. Don't be, you know, reactive. Be proactive. You know, get something in
Well,
place. Let somebody,
and to,
you know, not fall behind. So, local and state news are brought to you by Brightway Insurance. Brightway Insurance can take care of all of your insurance needs, whether it's business, life, auto, home, anything you need. Contact Brightway Insurance. They are located in Marietta at 2867 Caledonia Street. You can reach them at 850-633-3460. That's 850-633-3460. Contact Brightway Insurance. All right, I'm going to move on to our more not so, I should say, exciting news. They did capture the suspect in the Malone shooting case. If you can see here, they did bring him in, or matter of fact, he was arrested in Cove County, Illinois, and his name is Charles Peterson Jr., and he is a suspect in the murder case of Quentin Beckwith, 33-year-old young man in Malone. So that suspect has been apprehended. He is due to be brought back to Jackson County at some point, but right now he has been arrested in Coves County, Illinois. And then the next thing I want to mention to you, the body that was found in Spring Hill landfill was the brother of Manny Diaz, who's George Diaz Johnston. Manny Diaz is the Florida Democratic chair, It was his brother, unfortunately, George Diaz Johnston, who's 54 years old, from Tallahassee. That was the body that was found in the Spring Hill landfill in Campbellton. That truck, if I'm not mistaken, was from Walton County. Therefore, it's not Jackson County related per se, because it was not brought to the landfill by any trucks from Jackson County. It's brought from a different county. So, but that was the body identified from Tallahassee, George Diaz Johnston. And Byron, so I just want to bring everybody up to speed on those two cases. People have been monitoring those, and so just want to make sure that we have news as well that can update you. Again, I want to make sure that you go to TDA and his staff at Brightway Insurance. Brightway Insurance is right here in Marianna. Give them a call if you have any needs for home insurance, life insurance, or business insurance. You can reach them at 850-633-3460. That's 850-633-3460. And tell TD and his staff that you heard us here at Bottom Line with Roni Byron talking about him and his staff. What do you have for national?
Oh, so for national news, before I get into it, People's Funeral Home. Because we care, we're here when you need us. Long Granbury Funeral Services Incorporated, doing business as People's Funeral Home, Marianna and Battle Mortuary. Panama City offers services that is within the reach of all. Caring staff is available 24/7 when the need arises. The services are designed to commemorate the life being remembered at a suitable price for all. Give Cephas and Gwen a call at 850-482-2233. That's 850-482-2233, or simply stop by for more information. It's People's Funeral Home. So my first story is the Supreme Court blocks nationwide vaccine and testing mandate for large businesses, allowing healthcare worker vaccine mandates to still take effect. So I know President Joe Biden came out with a vaccine and testing requirement aimed at large businesses, but it allowed a vaccine mandate for certain healthcare workers to go in effect nationwide. This decision is a huge hit to the Biden administration's attempt to use power of the federal government to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. The president has emphasized that the necessity of getting vaccinated against the virus for months, and eventually decided to use a mandate on large employers as his main vehicle for convincing hesitant Americans to get their shot. So in a nutshell, it did not go through. And look, when it comes to businesses, you have to look at it from a liability standpoint. And if somebody catches COVID, then a business is liable to be sued. So I understand a lot of times if people have a problem with a business saying, hey, you got to wear a mask or you have to be vaccinated, it's not so much about trying to take your rights, but it's so much about a CYA type of situation. So it leaves people wide open, but the Supreme Court ruled against it, and we'll see what the Biden administration comes up with next. The president made a statement. He said that I'm disappointed that the Supreme Court has chosen to block common sense, as he puts it, comes to life-saving requirements for employees at large businesses that were grounded squarely in both science and law. So moving forward, he said it is now up to the states and individual employers to determine whether to make their workplaces as safe as possible for employees and whether their businesses will be safe for consumers during this pandemic by requiring employees to take the simple and effective step of getting vaccinated. So that's where we are with that one. Yeah, I get it. I get the intent, but at the same time, there is precedence. So once the Supreme Court rules on that, and that's how law works. So people have to understand law works a little different than politics. When something sets a precedent, then it opens the gate wide open for anything else that may not be pandemic related, but it'll be a ruling that if a mandate comes out for that end, then it opens it wide open for something else. So just keep that in mind when getting upset about a Supreme Court ruling, regardless. My next story, a little different. So if anybody notices any glitches in your satellite, say if you have satellite television, if you notice some glitches in it, today or even yesterday, it'll be due to a geomagnetic storm watch that was issued for Earth, and it's supposed to impact today. So basically, large solar flares it'll send out electromagnetic waves and affect the satellites in space. So whether it's your TV, whether it's your antennas, if you notice that even in your phone services, in some areas, power will even go out for a split second or two, and it'll be due to that. So don't get mad at the television companies. It may be a glitch to that solar flare. The NOAA's Space Weather Prediction Center has classified this as a G1 class geomagnetic storm, and it's forecasted. Now, southern parts of the United States may be able to see an aurora. So you may see the sun more brighter, longer. Later on in the evening, you may not see it set as quick, and you may see it sun may look bigger and brighter than normal, and that's due to this big electromagnetic wave that will come through. So it's called coronal holes, and they can develop. It doesn't have it's just only supposed to be tomorrow. It doesn't give like an hour time frame, but periodically throughout the day, if you notice anything in your services or in your TV or anything of that such, it'll be due to that big solar event. So, and that is all from me for entertainment. But before I leave, I want to mention People's Funeral Home again, because they care. They are here when you need us. Long Granbury Funeral Services Incorporated, doing business as People's Funeral Home. Mariana and Battle Mortuary, Panama City, offers services that is within the reach of all. Their caring staff is available 24/7 when a need arises, and their services are designed to commemorate the life being remembered at a price suitable for all. Please give Cephas and Gwen a call at 850-482-2233. That's 850-482-2233, or simply stop by for more information. It's People's Funeral Home.
Okay, well, I want to move to sports and say congratulations to the two baseball players at Cottondale High School. Their names are Jude Haser and Corbin Odom. Jude Haser and Corbin Odom both signed to play at Union College in Kentucky. This is, I think, the first time that more than one player have signed in a single class at Cottondale High School. So that's really good to see kids being able to play, their sport at the next level. I think
representing the alum.
Yeah. Hazer is a second baseman and Odom is a shortstop. So congratulations to both of those young men, which we wish you the best. Then I'm going to move to, go ahead.
Where did they get scholarships at?
Union College, which is in Kentucky.
Okay.
Union College, which is in Kentucky. Yeah. All right, I'm going to move to talk about college football a little bit. We both know that Georgia won the national championship. They did beat Alabama Crimson Tide. I think the score was 33-18. Just want to talk about the payouts a little bit, Byron, what each team got. So just for making it to the semifinals and to the national championship for both of these teams, they both got $4.2 million. They're universities. Wow. $4.2 million. Yeah. And then just for also, making it, they got an additional like $2 million. So they got a total of $6 million. Byron.
That's crazy. But but I like how you breezed over that. Our predictions, when you made the prediction, I wasn't. Yeah.
I said Georgia. Yeah. I did.
I was hoping. I told you they were hoping. But I'm gonna be honest. I went to sleep. It was fourth quarter, 10 minutes left, and I said, well, Alabama's gonna win. This is the same old story. And when I woke up, it couldn't fit it, and it was Georgia. So I had to rewind. I was like, what? How did they come up by 2 touchdowns in less than 10 minutes left in the game? And I'll be, so yeah, that was wild, because I just knew it was the same old story again. And man, that was a great game. That was a good game.
Georgia was hungry. They had gotten beat by them in the SEC championship. They hadn't won a national championship since 1980. Kirby Smart was playing against his mentor. So, they were fired up. So But anyway, the payoff was big. Again, I want to make sure I was clear. They got $4.2 million for playing in the championship, and then they got additional $2 million for making it to the semi-international. So they got a total of like $6 million each university.
And to the point, another point too, we wonder why students, why it's a big thing to let them get paid in their likeness at least,
Exactly, because you see how much money the university
crazy.
got. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Not to mention, these coaches get paid crazy money.
I'm going there.
Crazy.
So Kirby Smart, the head coach for the Bulldogs, he got $200,000 just for winning.
That's just a bonus.
$200,000 just for winning. Yeah. No, that's not his bonus. He gets something else on his bonuses, but that's just for winning. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. So NIL, I'm glad, it exists so these players can get some of that money that's being paid out to these universities. Yeah, I agree. I should say they get some money too, in addition to playing, for the universities and money. Well, they get to make money on their own by signing with someone's brand. So I think it's fair.
Yeah.
All right. So, but congratulations to the Georgia Bulldogs on your win. All right. I'm going to just give like a rundown. We are in the playoff season for NFL. Some wild card games are taking place this weekend, Byron. I don't know if you've been watching some of the NFL matchups. All right. So on today at 3:30, you got Las Vegas taking on Cincinnati, and New England at Buffalo. So those are both AFC wildcard playoffs. Again, that's Las Vegas at Cincinnati at 3:30, and then New England is at Buffalo at 7:15. Both of those games should be interesting. I'm going to tell you the network. Vegas and Cincinnati are playing on NBC, and then New England and Buffalo are playing on CBS at 7:30. And then on tomorrow, Sunday, you got some of the NFC wildcard playoffs. You got Philadelphia is at Tampa. That's at 12 o'clock on Fox. You got San Francisco is at Dallas. That's at 3:30 on CBS. And then you have Pittsburgh at Kansas City, and that's at 7:15 on NBC. So again, Philadelphia is at Tampa at 12 o'clock on Fox. San Francisco is at Dallas at 3:30 on CBS, and then Pittsburgh is at Kansas City at 7:15 on NBC. And those are Sunday games. And then there's one Monday game, which is Arizona at Los Angeles. That's on ESPN at 7:15 p.m. All right. So if you're into the football and watching the road to the Super Bowl, it's getting ready it's gearing up right now. That's where we are. All right. So that's all I have for sports, Byron. What do you have?
So for go ahead.
Entertainment.
Yeah, so for entertainment, I want to talk about the famous actor, comedian Bob Saget was found dead. And it's sad, he's most famous for his portrayal as a father on the show Full House. So he died unexpectedly this past Sunday. His autopsy was completed. However, the chief medical examiner is still not, putting out a actual determination of it. Local police officers and those that were there on the scene are feeling like he was more about maybe a heart attack or a stroke, given the way he was found. So he was found laying on the bed in the supine position, and with one hand, his left arm resting across his chest, and his right arm was resting on the bed. So there were no signs of trauma, but this is what the Orange County Fire Rescue and the police, that the sheriff's department that responded, kind of feel like. But not yet has the autopsy has been performed, but not yet have they put out an actual ruling of cause of death. But rest in peace to Bob Saget. Yeah, rest in peace to Bob Saget. He was actually on a tour as well. And a lot of people didn't know that his comedy was very different from his character on Full House, so but he's great. I mean, he's oh yeah, a lot of profanity, but I mean, hey, it's good comedy. Yeah.
I never knew that till they said that the other day. Yeah, never knew that. Would not have guessed that in a million years. I guess we're so used to seeing him on Full House, which is my daughter's favorite show, and I love watching the show as well, seeing him as dad of the twins and the older two girls. But I say twins because they interacted, the parts. But Caden, what was the name? The Olsen twins that played the little girls.
Olsen twins. Yep.
Yeah, he was so good with them. But I love Full House, and so yeah. Sorry to see him go at such a young age. Yeah.
So that's it for me for entertainment.
All right. Well, we're not going to have our relationship tea segment today because we have a special guest. Our guest today is Tammy Dasher, who is the program director for Next Step Academy at Endeavor, which is the autistic program that has been established at the old Dozier property. So we had a chance to catch up with her and get some information about it. So let's check out the interview. We are here with Tammy Dasher, who is the program director for Next Step Academy at Endeavor. Welcome to the show, Tammy. How are you?
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad you was able to join us today. We want to get as much information out to the public about Next Step. So can you just give us an overview of the program itself?
Yes. So Next Step at Endeavor Academy, our final end goal is a 2-year residential program where we'll be teaching basically adulting skills for adults with autism with a focus on employment and living independently. So we are starting with a 3-month pilot program because we're still under construction at our site, and I can tell you more about that later. But we are starting with a pilot program that is called Next Step to Employment, and it's a 3-month program with a focus specifically on employment.
Okay, so you have already put in place the guidelines and the specifics of the pilot program. So let's start there. Tell us what has been done so far.
Well, so far, this program we're building it from the ground up. So it's very exciting to be a part of it. We have planned the program using the Learn for Independence curriculum, which is the curriculum that we're using based on, so we're consulting with First Place out in Phoenix, Arizona, and this is a curriculum that they developed.
Okay, so First Place is similar to what you developed. Basically, it's the same type of program.
Yes, First Place is the model that we're using. So it's really interesting to kind of take you back a little bit. The community in Jackson County who decided to come up with this program, they looked for the best in the business, and they found Denise Resnick, and she is the founder of First Place out in Phoenix. And so we've been consulting with her for a while now. I've been on board since August. I was hired in August. So we're modeling our program after their program, but of course, Phoenix and Marianna are a little bit different. They have things that we don't have in Marianna, being a more rural area. So we're changing things up as we go to make it fit the needs of our community. But we have modeled after those, and they have a curriculum that they use out there called Learn for Independence, and it's 32 modules focusing on employment, how to handle your finances, safety, culinary aspect, all the different things you need to live independently and manage your household and manage your job, and also participate in the community and have some fun too, right? Because it's not all about work.
Right.
So
they're going to basically be taught life skills during the program. So let's just kind of go back. You have chosen at this point, from my understanding, a group of students already, correct?
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay, how many have you chosen?
So we advertised for a few weeks that this program was open, and there are 7 students who are going to be in the first cohort.
Okay. Now, is this 24 hours? There's a certain amount of time during the day? Like, what is the pilot set up to?
Right. So the pilot program, since we don't have our residential component yet, it is more like a day kind of thing. So the students have classes on Mondays and Wednesdays where we're teaching from these modules. And then the other piece of that is some type of employment experience, which could range from volunteer to an unpaid or paid internship to competitive employment or some type of certification program. So the classes that they're taking with us are along the lines of how to be successful on the job and with this particular employment program. And then they're also supported in an experience that's going to help them either get a job or have some type of networking if they're interning, those kind of things.
So you're saying that it's a day program. Is it 8 to 5, Monday through Friday? Like, what's the schedule like?
The schedule is, the classes are from 10 to 12 on Mondays and Wednesdays. It's almost like a college type schedule. If you think about it that way, you know, where you have classes just a couple days a week. And then their work experiences will vary based on where they're working,
Okay,
where
so
they're
you'll be working throughout the day and the rest of the week.
Yes, just whatever. So it's highly individualized for each person in the program because their job sites are all different. So, you know, some of them, there's a group of students who will be taking classes in person. We're going to have a temporary classroom at Chipola College to use for that. And then some of them may have to connect with me virtually, just depending on their work schedule, because they might work all day. So they might have to do something different with their classes. So it's been kind of interesting to plan it because it is so highly individualized. But we're looking forward to meeting the needs of all the students and their employers.
So let me ask you this. So it sounds like some of these students already have a job. Is that what we're saying? So okay, go ahead.
Yes, a few of them do. So for this pilot program, we're looking at the needs, you know, some of the needs that were brought to us. And some of those needs for individuals with autism are that they maybe have finished high school, or they maybe even have finished college, or they have a certification in a certain area or a high set of skills in a certain area, but getting the job is the difficult thing for them. And some of them are on a job but are needing support, so they might be in danger of losing their job, or maybe they don't know how to advance in their job, or they may only be part-time and looking for full-time employment, or as several of them have never held a job before ever.
Okay, so I'm trying to get a scope. It sounds like are you looking, or is this program for a certain, I don't know the right terminology, but for a certain student that's on a certain portion of the spectrum, in order, because you're saying some of them already have jobs, and what I was, you know, envisioning or thinking about is, are these are students that may have graduated from, say for instance, Hope School, and have not ever had a job, you know, or in a, you know, on the spectrum, and really need to learn how to live independently, or, you know, learn some life skills. So are we talking about two different things here, like an advanced group, and as opposed
well, we are talking about, I hate this term, I'm a former special ed teacher, so I hate the term tracks, but I really have two different programs that I'm running right now. For, you know, the autism spectrum is a range of abilities, and no two people are alike.
Right.
So to answer your question, yes, this is for those kinds of students who are going to need more supports, but it's also for the people on the spectrum where autism might be more of a hidden disability. So I'm on my job, but I can't advance because I don't know how to advocate for myself. So I'm stuck working part-time while everyone else who was onboarded when I came along has moved on. And I should be moving on to full-time employment with benefits as well, but I don't know how to advocate for that, or, you know, those kinds of things. So right now for this pilot program, because we don't have our residential. Now our residential, it's going to focus the same on those students who need more supports for those kinds of things. But for this pilot program, it was just open to anyone on the spectrum who had a need in this area. So
Okay.
Students may have a job but feel like it's not working for them, or maybe it's not a job they want to keep.
Okay. So okay. So it sounds like to me that this pilot program was geared towards, and I hate to say this, like I said, more advanced, or kids that already had, or individuals already had jobs and in that spectrum. So it wasn't for, and because that's news to me, it doesn't seem like it was for individuals that may be a little bit more needed as far as training. Does that make sense? Or educating?
Yes, I would say,
yeah,
right. I know it's hard, and you know, we're respectful. I tend to think of things more supports or fewer supports. So,
okay.
but that is not right, because there are students, about half of the students, I mean, I only have 7, but it's about it equal, the ones who need more supports and the ones who need fewer supports. And so when I opened it up, I was just seeing, okay, who's going to apply, and kind of building it around that.
Okay.
But it is for people who need more supports too. It definitely is for different ranges of the spectrum.
So
And
what's the age group that you have for these 7 students?
For these 7 students, the youngest is 20 and the oldest is 27.
Okay. Now let's talk about, you talked about, the scope of the program. You talked about there being class. Sometimes they'll be at a job site, learning skills.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 2 components of the program, correct?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And later on, you're talking about residential, but that's not where we are now, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
We are hoping to plan residential. We're waiting on construction, of course, those types of things. But yes, eventually we will have a residential program that will be a 2-year program.
Okay. Now, for currently, the fee is $2,000 per month for this pilot program. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And what does
correct.
that cover? Tell us what that covers.
So that, so again, a former special ed teacher, I definitely realize that is a huge chunk out of anyone's budget to spend that kind of money. So when I brought this before the Board of County Commissioners, I did a fee comparison. And many of your viewers may or may not know, but there are very, very few services for adults in our area, really anywhere. It's just very hard. We have a lot of services for early intervention. We have a lot for the school age children, and all of those are very important too. But it's almost like when our students age out of high school, they don't often have a lot of things to do. Right. So as I was trying to do this fee comparison, it became really obvious that these things I'm trying to compare don't really exist. But if you were to compare the things that the students in this program are getting, which is they're getting instruction and goal planning from a board certified behavior analyst, or a BCBA, which is me. They're also getting services on social communication, working with FSU's speech and language graduate student clinicians. I'm also hoping to get some special educator student teachers and interns. Since I was a teacher, I can supervise student teachers, so they'll have that component. And they also have job coaches. Okay. And if you were to find all of these services, which you couldn't in one area, but if you were to pay the going rate, it would, and if you found all those services, it would cost almost $4,000 a month.
Okay, so Tammy, realistically, I'm just gonna put it out there. It's really like you mentioned, a huge chunk for most, especially in this area. So if someone has a loved one that they wanted to be in the program and they heard this amount, that basically really kind of shut down. I know for a fact, it just kind of like, oh, we can't do that. But I hear there's scholarships. So how does that come into play?
Yes. So it was a goal of mine. Again, I do realize the cost, and I know that there are people who can write that check, and that's great, but there are many, many more people who are going to need some support. So we are looking at other funding sources and ways to provide help so that the cost of the program is not a barrier. It is important to note that the high quality of services, it is going to cost. So, we have to support that as well. But we have some donors who have stepped forward to help. And it was a goal of mine to at least partially fund every student who was going to be in this first pilot cohort. And so every student who applied for the scholarship was awarded at least partial funding for this first cohort. So,
so you said partial, was that half? Was that,
it's just depending on their resources and what their needs and resources were. So it was.
So when you applied, was that told, like during the application, you will receive, some sort of?
Well, I couldn't do that because I was still working to try and secure funding from donors, right? So these are private donors who have stepped forward to fund everything from application fee for the students to those things. And those are things I've been working on since August, with the knowledge that there are people who want to be in this program who may not be able to afford it. Now, I'm so glad, I feel very fortunate to be on your program to get the word out, because this is something that we have some grant requirements. We've got some quick turnarounds on things, and had to put together a pilot program. We've got to start our program so we can show that the things that we do, that leads to getting more donors and more funding. So it's kind of like, it's what comes first, right? So we're trying to get the word out. And I feel like for the students who applied, they maybe applied without the expectation of that, but I encouraged everyone who reached out to me via email and through our website, everyone who asked me that question that you're asking me about costs, I did say to them, I highly encourage you to apply. I'm working to get scholarship funding. So I do feel like the people who had questions about that and reached out, I definitely replied back individually to everyone who contacted me to say, please fill this out. But I couldn't guarantee it, of course, because I didn't know I was going to have what I had until I got it.
Right. Okay. So the program starts at the end of January. Is that
right? January 24th.
And it goes for 3 months. So when does the next 3 month start?
So we're starting actually to plan that now, even before. And one of the things that I am pleased to offer in the summer, we're going to have some different kinds of shorter programs. So our program, we're hoping to have residential in the fall with a small number of students. And so the 3 month pilot, we might not have this 3 month program. Again, that was just to kind of get started. Let's look at how things are going. Let's work out the glitches, that kind of a thing. But the summer programs I'm going to offer are going to be shorter and also more affordable, kind of maybe like workshop type things, or maybe, summer, not really camp, but kind of camp for these kinds of skills. So we're hoping our school is going to be ready then. So we have a place, and at our school where we have a demonstration kitchen. We're going to have a teaching apartment. So like an apartment to teach some of those independent living skills that students need. And we'll also have a traditional classroom. So the prices those prices haven't been set yet, but I do encourage any of your viewers who are watching to contact me. And I'm sure maybe you will put up my email at the end, or how that works. But if you contact me and let me know, hey, this is something I'm really interested, could you offer this? Then please do let me know, because I'm listening for feedback, and I'm hearing lots of different things like job prep. And one other thing is that those programs in the summer, there will also be some offered for high school age students as like job prep. So to get you ready for, if you're in high school now and you think, hey, I'd really like the chance to be at Next Step Academy, and maybe you have some skills we need to work on to get you there, those would be some good things to do.
So let me ask you this, speaking of high school, have you guys partnered with Hope School? Because, they have, several graduates each year that will be perfect for their program. And I mentioned to you offline that, I have a brother that's autistic, and I would love to see him in the program as well. So have you guys reached out to Dr. Braxton?
Actually, I know Dr. Braxton through my work. My previous job was with FSU's Autism Institute, their Center for Autism and Related Disabilities, also known as CARD, which you may or may not know provides free services to individuals with autism and of any age. And so I worked for CARD for 8 years. And so in part of my work with CARD, I was fortunate enough to work at Hope School and along with Dr. Braxton. Now, CARD is more of a resource agency rather than a direct service agency, but they're great at pointing people to resources. So to answer your question, I would love to work with a Hope School. And I actually have many speaking engagements coming up and many things on my to-do list, and that is one of them. And in fact, I understand that at Hope School, they have a culinary program. And I was talking with my program coordinator who has reached out to the teacher there and asking them about, hey, when we do our little graduation for our 3-month thing, we want to use their catering, right? We want to use local resources. We want to definitely have the Hope School students, who are ready for this, would love to have that be directly an option for them right there in Marianna.
Now, I will say this, Tammy, and I know this is not on you, but I remember a couple of years ago when this, idea was beginning to, be talked about. It was suggested that they reach out to Hope School. So I'm a little surprised that it has not formed a partnership now. We're 2 years later, and it's getting started with Hope School. So I'm just surprised at that. And like I said, it's not on you, 'cause you're not a part of it, but that was, suggested at the very beginning on the onset of talks to partner with Hope School, give those kids a chance right here in our backyard to be a part of the pilot program and the program itself. So, so I hope you implement that, reach out to Dr. Braxton, and because they do have students that will be perfect for the program and that will be, just great candidates and whose family, need in another avenue after they finish, Hope School as far as graduation, like my family, myself. So please do that,
I think that has been a real challenge since I came on board in August. It's been a real challenge to get the word out and to educate people about what we're doing. This project was in the works for a long time before I came on board. As you might know, part of an economic redevelopment grant, and also part of revitalizing the property at the former Dozier School for Boys. So there's a lot of different components working here. And what they did is they found me, someone who was in the classroom for 21 years as a high school special ed teacher. And that is my heart. I'm a teacher at heart. And I just hit the ground running with let's build this program. Let's go. And to get things along, and really working very hard to get the word out to people like yourself. So, to make sure that people know what exactly it is we're doing and that we are kind of working through this pilot program. We're going to be looking for feedback of all kinds and welcome that. And I would love to get together with Hope School. I feel like there's definite potential for those students to do some things on our campus to get them ready and comfortable as they're transitioning. And Chris Franklin, who is the transition specialist in Jackson County, he's on the Endeavor board, and he has he and I have plans to get together to talk about particularly these summer programs, how we can partner with the school board, to bring those things together.
Okay, well, that would be great. And I'm glad you brought up your background. So run that, to the viewers again, your background, because I didn't ask you that at the beginning.
Okay. So I am my passion in my heart is teaching. I was a special ed teacher for 21 years in Santa Rosa County at Pace High School in Pace, Florida, at the same school for all 21 years. I just loved it. And in my summers off from teaching, I did some job coaching. I worked at a camp over there that Autism Pensacola runs called Kids for Camp. And I was an administrator there as well in the secondary program. And then when I moved over here, I worked for FSU's Center for Autism and Related Disabilities for 8 years through FSU's Autism Institute. And that's more of a resource agency, but I worked in all 18 counties of the Panhandle a little bit, especially once we went virtual during the pandemic. So I do a lot of trainings, worked with teens and adults mostly during that time.
Okay, great. So you sound like you're a great fit for the program.
Thank you. I'm also a board certified behavior analyst. So I have done a lot of work with challenging behaviors and applied behavior analysis. So that is something that I added to my credentials later in my teaching career, but teaching is my favorite, and working with this particular population who's transitioning. What I found as a teacher it was just so disheartening that I would work with students, and then when they hit that magic age, they would leave and there was nothing. So it's really exciting for me to be a part, and seeing this come around now is just very exciting to me.
So one question, people are wondering, will this generate jobs? So how does that come into play? Because right now it's just you and a program coordinator, correct?
That's correct. I actually just interviewed yesterday for a position that I was calling that I am calling a transition coach, and that will be someone who helps the students on the job sites, like if they need help with specific tasks, learning specific things. And of course, we want to fade out those supports as they get more independent, because independence is our goal. those kinds of things. But yes, I will be hiring more staff. And that's something else to get the word out. So particularly when we have residential, we are going to need a property manager. We're going to need someone who's there 24, someone on site 24/7, just for safety reasons and things like that. The other thing that I'm really hoping people see is that this is an opportunity for businesses to access a group of individuals who can be really beneficial to the workforce. You know, we've all seen those signs where everybody's hiring, and we just happen to have a lot of people who would be perfect for some of those jobs, who aren't doing anything because they don't have the support that they need. So hopefully, in the larger scheme of thing, we will find families who want to come to our area so their adults with autism can attend and be a part of the community. And that, in fact, is what they found out in Arizona, is that many families, once their students go through the program, the families relocate, or the students who go through the program choose to stay there and become a part of that community. So, and work and live there. So that's our hope too.
Well, I will say we have a lot of students here already that, you know, will have great opportunities in this program. So we are looking forward to that. So let's do a recap. So you have started, the pilot program will start at the end of January 24th or 27th. What is
24th.
24th. It'll go for 3 months. And then after that, this summer, you will start another program that will basically be like workshops, and people can look to find applications where for their students to apply for those programs. Give us information.
Right. So we've just launched our website right before Christmas. So we do have our website that is up and operational, and all of our announcements will be posted there. Also, the Jackson.
What is that website?
It's nextstep@endeavor.org.
So that's okay. NEXT, okay, at endeavor.org. Okay.
Yeah, and AT, not the @ sign. So that can be a little confusing. But and I have a handout I can send you, or with some information that you can post those things if you want afterwards.
Yeah.
I would say our biggest challenge right now is spreading the word, you know, and getting people to know that even if you feel like it's you know, is this for me, or is this for my child, or is this for the adult that I love who has autism, please email me and ask me. I have a highly personal touch with this, and it is my goal to encourage people. And I've had people reach out to me whose adult children, for lack of a better word, are not on the spectrum. And I've been fortunate that through my work with CARD, I have easy access to resources for them too. Like, oh, here, try this, you know. So this is my mission. This is my ministry. My goal is that this is available to the people who want it, and particularly to the people in Jackson County. So I've had people ask me, people from Atlanta, or people from Port St. Lucie, or people from Orlando. And in fact, people do go to Arizona from all over the country. And that's wonderful. But my goal is that right here in our own community, those students are our first students we want to serve. So I really am thrilled to be able to do that.
Let me ask you this: of the current 7, how many of those are from Jackson County? What percentage, or how many?
So right now I have 3 from Marianna, 1 from Bluntstown, and 3 from Tallahassee. And this, I think, will be a bit of a game changer when people, when we do have residential. I feel like people will want to come from other areas, but I am assuring you that people who from Jackson County, those are those are like first dibs, right? Because the Jackson County community put this together. So,
and that's what we have to keep in mind.
That is definitely my goal. You can put that on the record that people from Jackson County, this is Jackson County's program.
Right. So we look forward to seeing the how this pilot, you know, turns out, and then the actual workshop. So I'm sure you'll be putting up information on how to apply for the workshops that's coming up, so kids can start, or parents or your family members can start, you know, looking at that. and getting that going. And then as far as, jobs, as far as employers, I mean, you guys will put that up there and seeing where these individuals are being able to participate, right? You'll let that be public. Will you?
Yes, it's also posted.
Yeah.
Right now, we're under the purview of Jackson County. So anyone who's hired is a Jackson County employee. So you can also check on their website under their. We have a section on their employment board.
Oh, okay,
well.
no, okay. Well, that was my next piece. So as far as hiring staff, okay, so that's on the Board of County Commissioners website.
Yes,
Okay.
and it will also be on ours. Right now, I've just finished up a hiring cycle and interviewed yesterday, so I do not have any openings to work for us posted now, but they will be coming.
Okay, all right. So let me backtrack. I was initially speaking of where the students have access to working. That piece, the employers who are participating in the program, will you make that public?
Oh, yes. We actually had Catalyst Fabric Solutions is a wonderful resource. Milk and Honey, which is a frozen yogurt shop there. Family Dollar. We're partnering, with other local nonprofit for volunteer or possibly internship or learning type jobs. Maybe that would be unpaid, and those are all on our website as well. And
So
yes,
these jobs are unpaid?
some of the jobs might be unpaid, like internships, and some of the jobs will be paid.
Okay, for the students.
Are we talking about the same thing? We're talking about the student experience.
Yeah, the students.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, all right, okay.
With the end goal of paid employment. But like for the example I gave you before, someone who is maybe in a certification program,
Right.
Trying to learn a new skill, they might be interning somewhere and it might be unpaid with the hope that it would turn into paid.
Okay, I got you.
So again, it just depends on where the student is.
Okay.
Where the student is with their, are they ready to start work? Are they, so if we, right. Mhm.
All right, I think we've covered everything. Tammy, I really appreciate you for coming on our show, and any information that you need to get to us for us to get to the public, please feel free to give it to us. And we look forward to watching Next Step and to see how it grows and hopefully just become a huge asset to our community. And so thank you again, Tammy Dasher, the program director for Next Step at Endeavor.
Thank you for having me. And if you or any of your viewers are a business that would like to participate and hire some of our individuals, please contact me. We love our business partners, and we provide, we've partnered with CARD, FSU's CARD, through the Autism Institute to provide autism-friendly business training, which is free. That helps everyone on your staff know how to communicate and work with these individuals and make it a welcoming work environment. So we have lots of good things.
Give us your contact information.
Okay, you can contact me at tdasher@nextstep@endeavor.org.
Okay, all right. And then your website one more time.
That is just nextstep@endeavor.org.
Okay, perfect. All right, Tammy.
And I'll send you that.
Yeah,
all right. Thank you so
put that
much
on our show and make sure everybody have access to it. And again, thank you so much for joining our show. And thank you, viewers, for watching to make sure that you are informed of what's going on here and around Jackson County. Thank you. And that's going to wrap up our show today.
Cool.
We want to make sure that you are aware that we are doing a Martin Luther King holiday special show on Monday. We're collaborating with the Jackson County NAACP. So thanks to you again for joining us. We want to say we really appreciate you for watching. And remember, when you know the truth, you can speak the truth. And the light shines brighter when it shines for two. We'll see you next week.